Why can't you speak English even after months or years of learning? Maybe you ask yourself this question very often. You study, you try, you spend time and energy, but nothing really changes. You know many words, you understand videos, you can follow conversations when you listen, you read texts, you understand articles, you study grammar rules. And people often tell you that your English is good. But inside, you don't feel confident. Because when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. You open your mouth, and nothing comes out. You freeze. Your heart beats faster. Your body feels tense. Your thoughts become loud and messy. You feel uncomfortable. You feel exposed. And very often, you feel stupid. You start thinking that something is wrong with you. Maybe you think you are slow. Maybe you think you are bad at languages. Maybe you think English is just not for you. But listen carefully. Nothing is wrong with you. This problem is very common. Millions of people experience the same thing. And there is a clear reason for it. The problem is not your intelligence. It is not your memory. It is not your motivation. The problem is how you learned English. You didn't learn English as a speaking skill. You learned it as information. From the very beginning, you were taught to memorize. You memorized vocabulary lists. You memorized grammar rules. You memorized example sentences. You were taught to analyze language, to think about language, to understand language, but not to use it. In school, speaking was usually the last step. First grammar, then exercises, then tests. Speaking was something you did only when you felt ready. But speaking does not work like that. Because speaking is not knowledge. Speaking is a physical skill. It is muscle memory. Just like swimming. Just like driving a car. Just like playing an instrument. When you swim, you don't think about instructions. You don't say, now move my arm like this. You just move. When you drive, you don't translate rules in your head. You don't think about every action. Your body already knows what to do. But with English, you were trained to do the opposite. You were trained to stop, to think, to check. So when you want to speak, your brain does not let you talk freely. Instead, it starts checking everything. Is this grammar correct? Is this the right word? Is my pronunciation good enough? And while your brain is checking, the moment is already gone. The conversation moves on, and you stay silent. This is why speaking feels stressful. Speaking English feels like a test, like an exam you can fail. And your brain hates tests. Your brain wants safety. It wants control. It wants to avoid danger. So it freezes you, not because you are bad, but because it thinks it is protecting you. Another big reason you can't speak English is fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding stupid. Fear of being judged. So you stay silent. But silence does not protect you. It keeps you stuck. Mistakes are not the enemy. Avoiding mistakes is. Children learn languages fast because they are not afraid. They speak before they are ready. They make mistakes all the time. And nobody stops them. Adults do the opposite. They wait. They prepare. They want to be perfect. And perfection blocks fluency. There is also another problem. Translation. You think in your native language. Then you translate into English. Then you speak. This process is very slow. By the time you finish translating, the conversation has already moved on. And you feel lost. To speak English fluently, you must stop translating. And this feels uncomfortable at first. Because translation feels safe. It feels controlled. But real speaking is automatic. At the beginning, automatic speech feels messy. You speak slowly. You repeat words. You make mistakes. And that is normal. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is flow. You don't need complex grammar. You don't need advanced vocabulary. You need simple sentences used many times. The same phrases. The same structures. Again and again. This is how your brain learns patterns. Speaking is training, not testing. You are not performing. You are practicing. You don't need confidence to speak. You get confidence from speaking. Confidence always comes last. At some point, something changes. You stop translating. You stop overthinking. Words come out naturally. Not perfectly, but naturally. And people understand you. That moment feels calm, warm, real. That is fluency beginning. If you are listening to this and you feel the same problem, remember this. You are not bad at English. You are not slow. You are not broken. You just trained the wrong skill. And you can change that. Slowly, calmly, one sentence at a time. If you want to improve your English without stress, subscribe to this channel and keep listening to slow English stories.